Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. I'm Anne-Marie Green.
And I'm Nikki Batiste. A manhunt is underway in Denver, Colorado for a woman who made a credible threat forcing hundreds of schools to close. The FBI says Sol Pais is considered to be armed and extremely dangerous. Police believe she's fascinated with the Columbine shooting, which has its 20th anniversary this weekend.
Now, more than 500,000 students have no school today. CBS News correspondent Barry Petersen is at the FBI office in Denver.
After spending Tuesday afternoon on lockout, students at Columbine and other high schools safely filed out of classrooms. It was a scene frighteningly reminiscent of almost 20 years ago when 12 students and one teacher were killed. The FBI says this woman, Sol Pais, flew from South Florida to Colorado on Monday.
We identified that she departed the airport and went to a store where she did procure a weapon. She obtained a pump-action shotgun and ammunition.
Officials say Pais posed a credible threat to Denver area schools and may be focused on Columbine.
She has had an infatuation with Columbine and the perpetrators of Columbine. She did not make any specific threats to a specific school, but her comments, her actions that we have heard about from others tend to cause us great concern that she may pose a threat to a school.
CBS station WFOR in Miami spoke with a man claiming to be Pais' father. More than 20 other schools were put on lockout, meaning doors were locked while classes continued inside. Students said the order came with little warning.
So many things were just rolling through my head, like if somebody had a gun, something bad could have been happening out there.
We didn't know a lot of information, and knowing it was so close to the Columbine shooting was something that was a little rattling.
The threat comes just 4 days before the 20th anniversary of that mass shooting.
I know that this opens a wound, especially on an anniversary week, for those families who were most deeply impacted by this.
So Barry Petersen is joining us now. Barry, one thing that I noticed is it seems like the officers are being sort of vague about the threat. They're not sort of giving us a word by word what was left or if it was posted someplace or why they decided to zone in on this suspect. But what do we know about her?
She's 18 years old. She's a high school senior. They say she flew to Denver, bought a pump-action shotgun and some ammunition. But the FBI will not say any more than that. They won't say how they found this out. The only comment they made during a news conference last night was, we got the tip from our office in Miami and they passed it on to here. So aside from the picture and the age, and that somehow they consider her a credible threat, and that she is infatuated, their word, with Columbine, that's pretty much all we know.
Barry, this weekend marks 20 years since the Columbine school shooting. 12 students were killed, one teacher, which begs the question, were officials expecting these threats now?
They were very much aware that this is the week when these things escalate. Now, let's be clear. There are threats like this all the time. There are lockouts and lockdowns at various schools for a variety of reasons. And the Jefferson County School District, that's where Columbine is, has a whole dispatch center monitoring their schools 24/7 just because of this. So they can remotely lock doors, they can scan the schools, they can watch out, and they knew going in that this was going to be the week when these things get more and more with people who show up or somehow want to be involved in this horrific Columbine story.
Because they have the ability to lock down many of these schools, as you mentioned, when they need to, why do you suppose they chose not to open the schools at all?
I think that they're very concerned. Stop and think about it. You only need this person should she become a violent person. You only need her to go to one school and pull a trigger and you have a tragedy. And since she's been talking about schools, obviously the best thing to do is not to give her any target. I think that's the idea. At this point, wherever she is, and they're looking for her all over the place, there is no place she can go where there are school kids where she could harm any kids. She's a kid, she's 18, because now there are no kids at the schools.
Barry, of course, the students at Columbine now would not have been born yet when the shooting happened about 20 years ago. But the parents probably definitely remember, in the community. Do the attacks still impact the area?
They do, and this anniversary impacts the area. We spoke to some of the kids who are at the school now. They weren't even born when this happened. They feel like this still impacts their school and it makes them angry. One said, you know, this isn't how I'm going to define my life because of what this person has done. But they cannot get away from the fact that it is Columbine. It did happen there. We also talked with people who went through the Columbine shooting, and they say openly, every time of year that we come up on this anniversary, they can feel some of their fear, anger, reactions to what happened welling up all over again. So it's like they're going through this again every year at this time.
Well, when I think about it, all you have to do is say Columbine, and pretty much everyone knows what that means. They don't associate it with the town or the school. They associate it with the shooting.
The tragedy.
Barry, hopefully authorities find this woman as quickly as possible. Thank you so much.